This is Mr. Precella continuing our discussion of logarithms. Picking up where we left off, we had stated the product rule, quotient rule, power rule, and we were expanding logarithms. And we made the note, or the observation, that we could go from here all the way to here without showing all the steps, just by noticing that you separate logarithms at multiplication and division. The stuff that's in the bottom has a minus in front of it. The stuff on the top has a plus. The exponent goes in front of the letter L. That's where we are right now. We also remembered or reviewed some properties of exponents, and we had done a problem, this one right here, log base 7 of the square root of x, the 7th root of y, over w to the 5th square root of z. You've got to rewrite those radicals as fractional exponents, and then expand. Exponent goes in front of the letter L. The stuff on top has pluses in front. Stuff on the bottom has minuses. And the very last thing I'd done was mention that you can't separate logarithms at addition and subtraction. You separate them at multiplication and division. We did a problem like this. That, expanding it. And we made the note that this logarithm can't be simplified. You do not just distribute the log base 7. A lot of students, when confronted with this problem, would write this as the answer. But notice, this is how you expand log base 7 of x times y over z. So you don't expand log, or you don't separate at addition and subtraction. You separate at multiplication and division. So we have it done. I'm picking up, working through the homework. Let's do problem number 8. Okay. Sometimes number 8 gives students trouble because of the fact that it's got numbers and no variables in it. Okay. Well, don't let the fact that there's numbers instead of variables scare you too much. You still go about it the same way. The square root of 7, you're going to write as 7 to the 1/2 power. That's square root of 7. The square root symbol is a 1/2 exponent. Let me go ahead and put a dot there so it doesn't look like 87. You separate logarithms at multiplication and division. So writing out, it's all multiple choice right here, but I'll just cover it up, okay? And here it is. It'd be log base 4 of 8. Notice there's not an exponent, so I don't have a number in front of the letter L. Then a plus because it's on top. 1/2 log base 4 is 7. Notice the exponent is what goes in front of the letter L. And then we have that minus because we're now on the bottom, log base 4 of 5. There it is written out. Let's see, which one is it? It is D. Okay. If we had had addition instead of multiplication and subtraction instead of division, then it wouldn't have been able to be simplified. Sometimes students can tell me, oh, with multiple choice, they can just look at it and tell which one it is. What about this one here? Well, there's no radicals that we need to write. But make sure you realize this is A times B over C times D, and there's division. So it's log base 2 of A. There's no exponent to put in front of the L. Plus log base 2 of B then a minus log base 2 of c, and a minus log base 2 of d. So it's this one right here. Okay. Now 10 we've already done. In algebra, you always, in all math, you do it one way, then you do it the other way, okay? Given, expand this, you get that, then could you go backwards? Well, of course you can. In algebra, you learn to FOIL, then you started doing backwards, factoring, and so forth. Math, you always learn it one way, then you go in reverse. Given this, could you figure out how to write it all as just one? That's called condensing a logarithm. Then sure you can. The number in front of the letter L goes on as the exponent. The stuff that has pluses in front are on top. The stuff that has minuses in front are on the bottom. But make sure you're separating these with multiplication. Don't put a plus right here. Don't put a minus down here. That's a common mistake. So looking at problem number 11, it says, write the expression as a single logarithm. Another word that's used to describe this is condense. We're either expanding logarithms or we're condensing them. We're going to write it down as just one logarithm. This problem in particular, students say, oh, I can look at it and tell. Which one of these would expand to give me that? Well, there's a fraction bar because of the minuses. The m does have a minus in front, so it goes on top. The n and k go on the bottom. Make sure you don't write n minus k. Sometimes students say, oh, I can get this one right because I wouldn't, like, here's a wrong answer, and they're like, oh, well, I would never, this is wrong. And you might say, well, it wasn't even listed as a choice. You're right, it wasn't. But in a moment, we're going to be typing these in. And if this were one where you typed it in, how many people would type in this wrong answer? So if you do that, and it tells you wrong, you might remember, oh wait, don't put that minus there. Okay. 10, 11, continuing some more. Okay, condensing the logarithm. Which one of these will expand to give us that? Well, certainly not this one or that one, because that would mean there should be a minus. I'm just going to write it out as if it wasn't a multiple choice. Because of this plus, there's not a minus. There's just a z plus 2, the exponent, it's the number in front of the letter L, and 3z plus 3. Okay, so it is this one right here, A. You see, now look at number 13. It's no longer multiple choice. Big enough? Do I need to zoom in a little more? Let's see. I'll zoom in and okay. And or now let's see. What color do I want to use? I'll use. Okay, we're going to expand this, and you're going to have to type it in, but you'll use the little subscript button when you're typing the stuff in. That's over on the left of the screen. Just like when you type in an exponent, you use the superscript. So let's see. This would be times. You separate it, multiplication and division. So times and division. So there should be 1, 2, 3 logarithms, only one minus. So to write it out, you put the exponent in front of the letter L, then a plus, log base b of y, and then a minus 3 log base b of z. For one semester, a student saying, my gosh, it takes longer to type this in than to do the problem. And yeah, okay, yeah, I couldn't argue. Yeah, you're right about that. Let's see, what about 14? Now, 14, there's a little bit of work. So, by the way, type all of that in there. For number 14, there's one thing you need to do first. This is log base G. You need to rewrite that square root of A as A to what power? Well, A to the 1/2 power. Okay. Then we have B squared over C to the 9th. So to expand this, I'm just going to write it out right down here, I believe. Right down here. You separate at multiplication and division, so there'll be one minus sign. You write the exponent in front of the letter L, 1/2 log base G of A, then a plus 2 log base G of B, and a minus 9 log base G of C. Now, some notation. Number 15, this looks like an IN, but it's not. This symbol LN. LN denotes log base E, and this is where E is the irrational number, 2.7, 1828, 1828. So for our purposes, it's a logarithm that's just easy to type in. You don't have to be typing in a base. Okay? And it looks like an IN, but type it in with, it's actually an LN, and some calculators use a capital L, and I wrote a capital L here, but use a lowercase letter L when you type in your answers on MyMathLab. MyMathLab works really best if you never hit a capital letter, because when you type it in with the lowercase ln, it'll bold it like that and space it out really nicely. So on number 15, you've got to rewrite this square root. So it's going to be ln x to the 5th, and then that square root you're going to write as x squared plus 3 to the 1/2. A square root is a 1/2 exponent. And then x plus 3 to the 6th. So that's the thing you're expanding. I guess I have room to do it right here. Here's what I'm going to have to type in there. Separate at multiplication and division. And I think I need to, I don't write small enough to write it all right there. So there's going to be one minus sign. There's only going to be 3 logarithms. 1, 2, 3. You separate at multiplication and division. Do not start separating at addition and subtraction. So to write it all out, it's 5 ln x, then a plus because you're still on top, 1/2 ln parentheses x squared plus 3 close parentheses. Then you're in the bottom, so you'll type a minus 6 ln x plus 3. It's sort of it's a little takes a little long to type in these LNs, but again, if you don't use a capital L, it'll space it for you and so forth really nicely, okay? So that was 15. Now number 16, Hey, we were expanding, now we're back to condensing. Okay? Condense this logarithm. So this is number 16. Well, let's see, how are we going to condense it? Well, notice there's not a base, so it'll be a little bit easier to type it. You just type log, we assume it's base 10. Is there a fraction bar? If so, why? Well, yeah, because of this minus sign right here, there's going to be a fraction bar. The stuff on top, this is stuff that has the invisible plus sign in front of it. This x is going to be on bottom. Now, if you want to put the 2x plus 3 or the x in parentheses, that's fine. Okay? If you type it like that, it'll take it like that. We're condensing logarithms. Here's another one to condense. Going backwards. Okay. Is there going to be a plus sign, a fraction bar on this one? 2 log base b of x plus 8 log base b of z? No. No fraction bar because of this plus right here. If that circle plus had been a minus, there'd be a fraction bar. Now what are we going to write here? We write x squared, and then what's the very next thing I write? Do I write a plus? No. If you feel the need to put a symbol, it has to be times z to the 8th. Be sure that you don't put a plus right here. Okay? And if you do, well, it'll tell you wrong, and hopefully you can correct it from there. I'm just sort of flying through these. Number 18, condense the logarithms. Well, there's a minus, so we'll write it like this. Ln, because of that circled minus, there's a fraction bar. Now what's going to be there? Well, on top we have an x to the 4th, and on the bottom, y to the 3rd. Okay. Number 19, very much like number 18, except there's this fraction bar. So we have ln, well, not a fraction bar, there's this fraction right there. But because of this minus, there's going to be a fraction. And then you write x to the 7th, y to the 1/8. That y to the 1/8, there's actually 2 ways you could write your answer here, like this, or you could replace that 1/8 exponent. A 1/8 exponent is the same as what? Did y'all hear that? It's an 8th root. So on this one, you can type either one of these in. There's a symbol on the left that you hit to enter the little 8th root symbol. Okay? Let's see, number 20, another condensing. Is there going to be a fraction bar? Well, yeah, because of the minus. Well, we're just flying through these, aren't we? Are there any questions? Okay, ln, let's see, looks like Jonathan is leaving. I'm getting boring. No, Jonathan said he had to leave class early, so we're condensing. There's a minus sign, so there's going to be a fraction bar. Up on top, we write x to the 3rd. Do I put a plus next? No, I do not put a plus, okay? I write y to the 5th. If you put a plus right here, where my pen is, it's going to be wrong. All over what's on the bottom is z squared. Again, when you type in these LNs, use lowercase, even though it might look like a 1N or an IN. Let's see. Number 21. Right, log. Is there going to be a fraction bar? Yes, sirree. There's a fraction bar because of this minus. And up on top, we put a x to the third, a y to the fourth, and on the bottom a z to the sixth. There. Now let's see, number 22, it's back to, let's see, what does it say? Write the expression as a sum or difference. So that's expanding. We're going to expand this logarithm. You separate at multiplication and division. Well, there's only multiplication, no division. So is there going to be a minus sign in this? Well, no minus sign. Can y'all see that? Do I need to lift it up? Those of you in the back? This would be a log 2, then a plus 6 log x plus 2 log y. Notice, y'all, it's the exponent that goes in front of the letter L. Yesterday I had a student ask, well, why isn't the 2, this 2 here in front of the letter L? No, the exponent. There's not an exponent on the 2. I guess you could say there's a 1, and so I put the 1 there. Ooh, is it sort of log 2x to the 6th y squared? Can y'all read that problem? I sort of put the dots in there, which made it hard to read. Okay. Now, number 23. Y'all caught up with me? I'm flying through these, aren't I? If you're watching the video and I get too far ahead, pause it. That's how you're seeing it. But those of you sitting out there, you can't pause me, okay? Well, I guess you can, tell me to go slower. Any questions? Okay. Let's see. This one here, number 23. Notice that 8th root symbol is over both the x and the z. And 8th root is the same thing as a 1/8 exponent. So because both of these are under it, I'm going to write both of these with a 1/8 exponent. And then I'm going to expand it. So I had a little bit I needed to do. First, rewrite that radical as a 1/8 exponent. Is it clear why I'm putting the 1/8 on both of them? Because both of these are under the radical symbol. So to expand this, you put the exponent in front of the letter L, then plus or minus. Well, minus 1/8 log z. Number 24, condensing. So we're just practicing some of these logarithmic manipulations. If you're watching this in Math for Business, those logarithms have become significant when we're solving some financial math problems. If maybe we're trying to figure out, let's see, you have some sort of investment and you're trying to find how long, how many periods does it, do I need to leave the money in this account for it to grow from, say, $11,000 to $12,000, something like that. But right now we're just learning manipulation, how to manipulate these logarithms. This one here, if we're going to condense it, there's no minus sign, so So it'll just be log y, and then what? Am I going to put a plus next? No, I'm not going to put a plus. Z to the 6th. If you put a plus right here, that is wrong. Red X. Here's a wrong answer. Y plus Z to the 6th. It's a common wrong answer. No. Why? You can't separate this one if there's a plus right there. It couldn't be separated to give you this. Remember, previously in class I mentioned you can only separate at multiplication and division, not at addition and subtraction. You can't just say log x plus log y minus log z. That would be this one right here. 7. Oh, I think that's it for the expanding and condensing. Next, we have just sort of a little problems using your calculator. It says use your calculator to find log 21. You know what? Let me see. Log 21. Let me see. How's this calculator? Too much of a glare. Well, on this one I hit log. This is a TI-83 log 21, and then hit enter. 1.3222. Sort of hard to see, isn't it? 19295. Now how are we turned around? 4 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So do we, right here, this 2, do we leave it as a 2 or make it a 3? We leave it as a 2. So 1.3222. That's rounding to 4 decimal places. Now, on your calculator, look for an ln key. What? Well, hit your ln key, look at your calculator, and see, where's my ln? It is right here, way down here. It's sort of hard to see. But you basically hit ln 0.81. ln 0.81, close parentheses, enter. Negative 0.2107210, rounding to 4 decimal places. And I know it's hard to tell to read that. The glare is really bad, isn't it? So I just hit ln. Oh, that's not as bad. ln right there, 0.81. So negative 0.210. Do I leave it as a 7? Yes. So your calculator has 2 keys on it, the log and the ln. If you have some logarithm with a base other than base 10 or base e, you can use the change of base formula. The change of base formula says just punch it in as log over log, or if you want to use ln. This is a way that you can use your ln key or the logarithm key on your calculator to punch in something like log base 6. If you have a calculator like mine, you just got to be careful with those parentheses. Make sure you're closing them. This one here would be log 17 over log 6. So I'm going to punch it in just like that. Log 17, close parentheses, divided by log 6, close parentheses. Oops. Enter. 1.5812, how are we told to round it? To 4 decimal places. So 1.581246, so just 2. So to enter log base 6 in your calculator, you go log over log. The number that's on top is the number that's written higher. The number on the bottom is the one written lower. On this one, you go log over log. So it's log 7224, close parentheses. Can y'all see me closing the parentheses there? Divided by log 50, close parentheses. 2.271. Let's see. Oh my gosh, we're on to 6 decimal places. Okay. Oh, 2.27124. If we run to 6 decimals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We leave it as a 5 because the digit after it is a 3. And I know we're out of time here, so that's wrapping it up. Hopefully now you can work on all those logarithm problems, and if you learn how to do these logarithms, you can impress yourself later one day looking back at this thinking, what the heck was I doing, especially this expanding and condensing and stuff. But y'all have a good weekend, and I'll see y'all in class the next time. If you're in the online class listening to this, then have fun working with the logarithms. Thank you. Bye-bye.